What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Sony's statements on Call of Duty and Game Pass, obviously making the news. So just kind of throw in my hat into the arena of what I think about it. So basically, for those that are not caught up, what is going on is this is going through all these different regulators, and it's going through, I think, 20 of them worldwide. They all have to approve the sale, right, of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft. And I believe the Brazilian board, they're very, transparent. They show everything, online, and they basically had a questionnaire that went out to a bunch of other companies. They put it to Sony, they did it to Ubisoft, and a bunch of other ones, but Sony was the one that sounded the most anti, right? Like, you had Ubisoft, and you had a bunch of others that were very, if it happens, it happens. It's not really going to affect us much, so we don't really care about it. But Sony, they had some things to say in the questionnaire in terms of, we don't exactly want this. And so that's what's blowing up. Is this happened, I believe, a while ago, like several weeks, if not months ago. And but again, because it's so transparent over there, they made it known to everybody. Now everybody is running with it. So pretty much what Sony says is, Call of Duty is gigantic. Call of Duty requires a lot of people to make it. Call of Duty comes out every single year, and there really is no competitor to Call of Duty. Now, the other companies that were asked in this thing, and again, I think there were like 6 or 7 other ones, they all said that they don't actually agree with this, that they actually think they're Call of Duty, much like any other franchise out there, they have competitors, and there can be competitors to a game like Call of Duty. Sony has a problem with it in that basically it seems like casual gamers have associated historically PlayStation with Call of Duty, probably because of the alliance that they've had for a while, having the early access, or that they appear at Sony shows historically, right? So Call of Duty has been linked with Sony for quite a while. It hasn't always been this way, but it has been for a bit, and that's what they kind of link those two, that casual people tend to buy PlayStations because of Call of Duty, and they basically say there's no humanly possible way they could ever create a Call of Duty because of the reasons. Now, the reasons are valid, and I do think, in a sense, yes, you may not be able to create a game on the same scale because you don't have the same, 2,700 people every single year that get put together to make a Call of Duty game. You don't have that, so you can't create a Call of Duty. And then you have their Game Pass quotes. Now, again, I'm going to go back and talk about my opinions of this, but I want to talk about, both of these things next. The Game Pass thing is also, interesting in that they say, it's a force, it's a really big deal, and that it basically has sucked up 60 to 70% of the global subscription service market. Now, I don't know how, there must be a really nice spreadsheet somewhere that has all these numbers in there. They also say, in specific territories it can even be more. Some territories are just, more primarily Microsoft. So, that's an interesting one, if nothing else, because you see all the graphics of PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass subscriber number. And Microsoft has always been pretty quiet when it comes to sales of the Xbox consoles as well as Game Pass. They really do stay relatively silent in both. But just look at what Sony says. I think that's a pretty big deal. And that's, again, you could see how that's kind of valid, 60 to 70%. So everybody else, and there's not many else people, Sony is one, and there's really very few others, but they're fighting for the last 30 to 40%. Now, here's the deal. Here's what I would say to this. I understand where Sony's coming from. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, on face value, if you're Sony and you're trying to argue this, and you're trying to basically, by the way, don't forget this, you're trying to make a big deal about it because you're trying to make one of these regular boards say no, right? You're trying to say, hey, here's the reason why we think that Microsoft shouldn't be allowed to spend $70 billion, which maybe is unfair all on its own, right? You can have that separate debate. We don't want that to happen, okay? So that, you could understand, I would say, a company, even, if you want to say they're exaggerating, exaggeratory, you could say that, right? So they're trying to amp it up to be we really don't want this deal to go through simply because we don't. And of course we will give our reasons, but we don't want it to happen, so we're going to make a really big deal out of it in these, questionnaire, answers. Now, the first problem is that these things make it online, and this is just going to blow up, and this is going to be a thing for the next week, right? Gamers have very short attention spans, so this will move on eventually. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, but I would would imagine this lasts about a week before people start to forget about it. And then, of course, you'll have the console warriors that continue it, on Twitter. So that's the first thing, is that, I get it. Like, you have to answer the question, or they wanted to answer the questions, whatever. But now they made it online, and now it's going to be a bit, which, I'm making a video on it, so I guess I'm kind of guilty of it too. The thing is with this, I guess my overall impressions of their quotes on Game Pass and Call of Duty, and maybe it's kind of like the fighter within me, I really would just, I guess I would advocate for them that they should just continue doing their own thing. Again, I think if you kind of blend, and it doesn't seem like this is how it's coming out, which is, it really is a negative. If you're kind of blending like, hey, we're not big fans of a company with endless amounts of money, which is true with Microsoft, right? We're not fans of a company with endless amounts of money, and the game division, which we don't even know, how they operate in money, that they gain or lose, that they get to borrow from their father, figure, and they get to take their money to just buy literally whatever they want. It's a little unfair. Now it is. I mean, ultimately it is. But here's the thing, okay? And this is where I stand. It doesn't matter. This is a business. These things happen, and you have to deal with it. So that's my, if you guys got turned off by, you're a console warrior, Alex, you're favoring Sony or whatever. No, I'm actually not. It doesn't matter. And this is the thing with life. It doesn't really matter if this kind of thing that seems unfair to you maybe, right, happens. You got to do what's in your own power. So this is what I would say to Sony. The idea that, there can't be a competitor to COD, well, not with that attitude. Of course, that's true. And of course, it's easy to say that. It's easy for me sitting in my chair in my little corner office in my living room. It's easy for me to say, Sony, just go out and do your own thing. You have to, I mean, that's it. If they have Call of Duty, if you lose that basically exclusive market, which, by the way, I guess what they're also complaining about, right, is that people have always associated COD, or they have for a while, they've associated COD with PlayStation, so they've always bought PlayStation consoles, and now you're worried that they're going to associate COD with Xbox, so you're going to buy Xbox consoles. So an issue you run with is, or an issue I guess you run into, is you're complaining that Microsoft is going to get the same treatment that you've had for, let's say, like 5 to 7 years. So that's a little hypocritical, and a little is debatable too, right? That's a big problem, I think, right? Because it's like, well, that's what you, now if you want like a very even playing field, I guess that's fine. You're not going to get that, but I guess you never had that because it never really was fair, I guess, up until this point with Microsoft. So it's a little, that's something I actually just thought of right now. It's like, well, Microsoft is just kind of getting the deal that Sony, I mean, it's a better deal because you have Game Pass and all that stuff. Like, they're getting more than what Sony had, which maybe you could say that's unfair, but they're getting, a semi-equivalent of what Sony has had for a very long time, and Sony's kind of, again, like, they're jealous that they're losing it, which, again, like, I get that. I mean, if you're a company, I'm sure you want to keep those things. Like, it's understandable, but at the end of the day, again, even with like the Game Pass thing, it takes up so much of the market. Like, it would take, I think they said like it would take like 3 to 5 years and massive amounts of resources to compete with that. Well, do it. Just, I mean, like and I'm sure they are. What I mean? Like, it's words, and of course, there's like actions and decisions they're making kind of in the background. You just gotta do it. Like, I don't really understand. It's the same thing if like say you get jealous of like a YouTube channel or whatever gets more views than you. It's like, well, just you keep doing you, and you work on yourself, and then you believe in yourself that eventually maybe you're gonna catch up and maybe beat them in the future, right? So and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's naive. But it's like, also, it's like Call of Duty, and to me, I can bring in my own, thing here. Like, I could care less about Call of Duty, right? Now, I know a lot of people do care, right? This isn't necessarily even about me. This is about, as Sony kind of says, this is about the casual market. But it's like, okay, we'll do something about it. I know you don't have 2,700 employees to make these games every single year. And you know what? In a sense, you don't really need to do that, right? Call of Duty shouldn't be yearly. It suffers greatly because it is. And I know that, not every year, like one studio makes one game and they make another game the next year. Obviously, they have that 3-time rotation. So just to make that clear, but you know what I mean? It's like, well, you don't have 2,700 people that work on a Call of Duty game every year, but you can. I mean, you have Bungie now, so you could do something with Destiny. You can do your own brand new things, and you can make it with smaller amounts of people, smaller amounts of money, and grow it. That's like the thing. It's like, well, Call of Duty didn't always start like this, right? COD wasn't always a juggernaut. It had to start somewhere, and then it had to grow. And same thing with Game Pass. Game Pass didn't just become this, where it is like right now, right? It took a while to get here. So, and I guess that's what they're saying, 3 to 5 years. Like, if you start it now, maybe we could get something kind of cool in like 3 to 5. And maybe that's what they're doing with PlayStation Plus, the new PlayStation Plus. But I don't know. Maybe it's that competitive side of me. I mean, again, I get it. I understand it. But at the end of the day, I know you don't have the resources to do literally like create your own COD. I'm not saying Sony create your own Call of Duty tomorrow, because obviously that's impossible. But you have to do what you have to play into your strengths. You have to work with what you have and make your own deals. Don't worry about, again, specifically, if you believe Microsoft, which I think they kind of said it, if you believe Microsoft has endless amounts of money to just make these kind of deals whenever they feel like it, and that's unfair, it kind of is. But I mean, but here's the thing: you can't compete. You can't try to go head to head with that. You have to do your own thing. You have to stay in your lane that you're very good at, and you have to do your own thing. And while Microsoft does its own thing, and then you just see how it goes. Like that's all you can do. You can't compete, right? So why even try? And literally, I mean, in this way, you literally, like if it's like a boxing match, I mean, sure, maybe there's some tricks you can learn, right? Maybe you can figure it out. When it comes to money, if they have more money than you you know, in a way, you cannot compete, right? So you have to do what you're good at and believe in that plan, and then go from there, because you're not the same companies. You never have been, you never will be. So it's an unfortunate amount of quotes that, it's making its way online. But at the same time, that's how it is. So we'll see what Sony does. We'll see what Microsoft does. We'll see if any of these things get rejected. I don't know if it only takes one of these regulator boards to shut down the whole thing. I kind of think it, well, I don't want to say it. I kind of think it is. I feel like I read that it is, but I could just be making that up in my own head. But we'll see what happens. I doubt it does. I think it goes through and Microsoft gets them. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow or support me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.